What is good, everybody? This is Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with another commentary video. So today in this video, this is against my buddy Jason, who's playing MathMech, and I really want to capitalize on the game 2. I don't really care much about game 1 or game 3. Game 2 is to pretty much showcase you guys, essentially what the title of the video is about. Why you should play Connector. I know some people have thought about playing Sublimation Knight. Some people have thought about playing the Uppercut package instead of playing Connector with the new Battle and Boxer stuff, and that is just totally incorrect. And normally I don't try to avoid confrontation and try fighting in the comment sections and just try to stay out of it. But for now, we're going to jump into it because Connector is the best normal summon the deck has. Having head knowledge, being able to sequence your plays and construct your boards to pretty much be so versatile against your opponent's hand is tremendous. And that is so important. And I don't care if the Connector or if the Uppercut from Battle stuff gets you a counter trap. What good is the counter trap going to do when you literally get hand trapped to death and that's all you have? It is not going to do you no good to be able to do that. Instead, play Connector, look at the opponent's hand, see the hand traps, see the combo pieces they have so you can construct your board. And I cannot stress that enough. And this video, this game 2, is going to showcase that. And if you guys really enjoy the content we've been putting out here at Team COG, think about checking the links down in the description below to support the channel. If you guys want to become a member of the channel, go ahead and hit that join button, get instant access to perks and rewards, 15% off the Team COG store, which we have some really bomb Infernoble playmats. The Infernoble playmat you see on the screen is getting revamped into the Revived by Fire playmat, which should be coming out within the next week or so, depending on when I get it and when my distributors and stuff and all that type of stuff happens. So without further ado, enough of that. Let's just go ahead and jump into the video here. So like I said, it doesn't matter who wins the dice roll. This game 1 is not important, but I figure I will commentate anyway because I won the dice roll and I get to go first, and my hand is literally Malgus plus Oliver plus Callby plus 2 Imperms, right? So Malgus and Oliver, this is one of the instances where Malgus actually bricks you. Normally Malgus, along with the ability to special summon out any of the Fire Warriors, is crazy, but since I opened Oliver without a discard, it's not too good. Arguably, you could say what's bricking me end up being the Imperms, but Imperm is just such a solid card. We're going to see a normal summon of the Firewall. I don't know which one that one is. I just know when it's linked off a special one from the deck. So we're going to see go into Linkuriboh. And I'm going to go ahead and fire off the Call by the Grave. So this goes ahead and banishes the guy so he doesn't get the extra body. So puts him on having more in his hand, which of course, MathMech. Cypher's good stuff they do. He fires off Quick Launch. So this is actually a really cool thing. Quick Launch can summon a rocket monster and you'll never guess what he summons. The Rocket Coder. So I love this package. This is why I love my man Jason's list. It's just so unique by playing this right here. I don't think I've seen any other MathMech player playing this, and I just love it. The Rocket Coder is not a brick, and if you always have Quick Launch, is just an E-Telly. It's just a free E-Telly to be able to bring out a monster, which is cool. Anyway, he's going to go Small World, reveal the Ash, to pretty much go into Circular, which is just insane, in my opinion. I think Small World is a crazy card if you know your lines. Again, getting Circular is just kind of nutty. The one thing I'm scared of, prior to this match, I was scared of Super Factorial. I know that my buddy is not playing Update Jammer. Now, whether that's correct or incorrect, I don't know. However, this is going to prove that you don't need Update Jammer to whack through a clear board. Fire off the Circular, dump the Sigma, Circular summon, and he's still it's just kind of crazy. So he's going to go ahead and overlay here for Albertion. So in my mind, I know he's not playing Update Jammer, so I'm not scared. So I just know that keep him off Super Factorial. So I chain Imperm, he chains Linkuriboh, and I chain my second Imperm to do this. However, I think this was a mistake to fire off the second Imperm right away because I don't believe Albertion adds the Super Factorial. I believe the Circular does. So it was my mistake on the second Imperm, and now that I see it, now looking back and I see that, I just shouldn't have done it. However, hindsight's always 50-50. If you're in the moment, you're in the moment. But we're going to go ahead and watch him link into Splash Mage, make out the Link Decoder, and then he goes up into... He uses the Rocket Coder from hand, which I totally forgot he had, to be able to... Oh, never mind, he can't do that. So he ends up going into the... I don't understand why he couldn't do that. Because he's going to a Kotalker monster, wasn't he? Interesting. Anyway, he goes into this gigahertz, megahertz, because it's about to really mega hurt in a way, which is really cool in my opinion. I think that's just kind of crazy to this card. So he's going to be able to dump, I believe, and by dumping, he gets an additional attribute. He gains 2,500, and he can attack twice. So he's technically, I believe, 5,000, and he can attack twice. He can just whack, whack. So it is what it is. There's not really much more to say here. I jumped up and going to the next game. So this game is what's actually important in my opinion. This is what the whole video is about, is in this moment. So this, like I said, this moment is to show you. So what this is what's kind of funny here. I'll pause it. So he draws his hand and he looks at his hand and he shows his hand. So he's showing my buddy Caleb, who's also testing with us, his hand. And I literally just go, can I have a look too? And so I get to see his hand, and wait till you see this. Honest to God, wait till you see this, and you'll understand why Connector is literally why you have to play Connector. This is the prime example. So Connector's Effect, pitching Ogier, and let's look at this hand.
I'm in danger.
He has Droplets, he has Imperm, he has Dark Ruler, he has Tactics, he has Evenly. So this is his hand, okay? So by seeing his hand, I can play around this. Some of you are going to be like, well, how do you play around Dark Ruler no more? So if you side deck into the Riem Heart package, if you side deck into the Uppercut package when you get it, you can literally search this stuff out. You can search out the counter trap to counter Dark Ruler, but I happen to side deck Judgments. And I don't know if I'll side deck Judgments along with it moving forward, because like you need certain combos, certain 2-card combos to be able to get to like those like counter trap lines. So sometimes opening the Judgment will be necessary. But this is, I see this, right? So the one hand trap I gotta beat in his hand is Imperm. I know in my hand right now I have Solemn Judgment. So right now, I can beat Dark Ruler. And I can stop Evenly. And I can stop Tactics because my in-board will be good enough. And Droplets, he ain't going to be able to Droplets enough. In order for him to beat my board, he'll have to Droplets his whole hand away. So it's in this instance here, by knowing that he has Imperm, I can sequence my plays to bait the Imperm and play. So let's go ahead and keep going. I mean, like, look at this. Like, this literally should, like, normal players would scoop it up here, right? Like, they would just scoop it up. I ain't your normal player. I have hand knowledge, and that is all I need. Especially, like, you know, arguably, like I said, going first, you definitely side into the counter trap packages, whether you're playing the Ream Heart stuff, but definitely when Uppercut comes out in the next Fire Battles of Legend Fire set, I go ahead and fire off the field spell. And right now, this is what's important. I know he has Imperm. If this was any other sort of play, right, I literally normal summon Uppercut to go ahead and grab the Spar, and then I don't know nothing. I'm going blind. I can't construct my board. Even if I could play past the Imperm, I don't know what he has in his hand, so I will probably make a suboptimal board that'll just lose. So this, again, is super, super good. So I ended up paying 12, adding the Durandal. And right now, I know he just has Imperm. That's it. I just got to beat Imperm, and then I can put up enough interruptions to do what I need to do. So I go ahead and equip the Ogier, use the field spell, especially the Ogier. Interesting enough, if he had more monsters in his hand, I could rip 2 cards right here. But anyway, we go into Isolde. We use Isolde's effect to add. So this is, so he ends up Imperming here, which is incorrect. However, I also, in a sense, was ready for that. I believe in my hand, I also have Judgment, and I have Durandal left. So I know if he Impermed Isolde correctly, I can still play through and get to Angelica. Imperm, whether the Imperm was right or wrong, we're still good. We're still golden. But he Imperms Isolde on the first effect to add. So anyway, we go into the second Isolde. And he's like, oh man, he's like, he thought it was all one effect. And I was like, read, homie, read. Read the card, you know. Sending 1 to summon out Ricardetto. And this is how we're going to be able to beat this board. And what's even crazy is I end up making the board able to beat his hand, but end up sequencing my cards wrong, which is just awful. But anyway, in a way, I guess in a sense, right? We'll talk about when we get there. Angelica, go ahead and add the field spell, because the field spell is not a hard once per turn. Konami, but you're Warrior Lock now, which is okay, because like we're going to be able to do some crazy stuff. Banish 2 to add back the Phoenix Blade. We'll go ahead and fire off the Phoenix Blade to go ahead and use the Angelica to go ahead and dump. So I know his hand's full of spells, so it's like, what point do I get of sending Gearfried? There's no point. So I want to go ahead and send Renaud. And Renaud, I send Renaud because in my mind, I'm like, oh, I should be able to use the second field spell here, right here, to be able to special summon out, which you'll see. So I go ahead and grab Alamus. I go ahead and I believe equipped Alamus to the Roland, trigger the Turpin engraved to special summon itself. Turpin will be banished this time because it was special summoned from the graveyard. To go ahead and make Charles, Alamus will trigger, add back the Renaud. So then we go ahead and equipped Roland to Charles, which meets the requirement for Charlemagne, or Charles the Great, to go ahead and attach the Charles. We use the field spell effect to special summon the Charles, and then we go ahead and special summon out the Renaud, grabbing back the Alamus for follow-up. We go ahead and make the Baron, because there's no point in me getting Gearfried in this scenario, right? Because he doesn't have any monsters. And again, you wouldn't know that if you didn't see the hand, right? So you might be just shooting for Gearfried. The field Durandal to go ahead and grab Oliver, and then we're going to go ahead and banish 2 to grab Phoenix Blade, pitch it, summon Oliver, link into Ratin, the Heavenly General, to have that battle phase pop. We go ahead and equip the Oliver, and then we will end up set 1, which is the Judgment, move to the end phase. Charles or Angelica will return. Charles will pick up Metal Silver. No, he picks up Durandal, never mind. And do I go for Ogier? No, I go for Malgris. So I go for Malgris, because right now I'm still thinking if my board's broken, I need Recursion. Charles Vector to destroy the Malgris, to shuffle back 3, to draw a card. And I believe I draw into Droll? No, yeah, I draw into Droll, I think, too, which is why Malgris is an insane card. So we go ahead and draw, and we go ahead and pass it over here. So we pass it over to him. I can't remember what he top stacks, but let's go ahead and pause it right here. So we know in his hand, still, after the Imperm, he has Tactics, he has Forbidden Droplets, he has Evenly, and he has Dark Ruler. And he just drew his 5th card. So we know the first thing he's going to do is fire off Dark Ruler. That's the first thing he has to do. Ruler? So right here's interesting. I let the Dark Ruler go, and this is what I'm talking about. In my mind, when I saw the Judgment, this is what I was thinking. Judgment the Dark Ruler, then he has to either respond with Droplets. He can't Tactics me yet. Or he responds with Droplets. He goes into the battle phase. Now, if he goes into the battle phase, he can't Tactics me, right? So I end up stopping the Evenly, and he's forced to use the Droplets. But right now, he doesn't have... What is good as Droplets going to get him, right? What good will Droplets get him? Because he has to send, like, what's ever left in his hand. But in the counter argument to what I just did is I'm thinking, oh, great. Fire off the Dark Ruler no more. Let him negate everything. I judgment the Evenly. He can't use Droplets. He can't use Triple T. It puts him on that one card he drew. And my board is so big that it might... I don't know if he'd be able to crack it or not. I let it go through. And he goes Evenly. I fire off the Judgment here. Now, like I said... Looking back, I don't think this was the correct way to play. I think the correct thing was to judge with the Dark Ruler. When he goes Evenly, I can negate with the Baron. Because if I remember correctly, Talent says a monster has to activate during the main... Yeah, so it has to activate during the main phase. So right now, I'm still Talents proof. And if he wants to fire off Droplets, he can fire it off and get 2 monsters. But he's already exhausted his battle phase. So anyway, he wraps it up, and right here it is. So he just drew Droll for turn. So this right here is why... Connector is so good. If this does not prove to you why you should be playing Connector, even after the new Battle in Boxer stuff comes out, nothing will. Instead, you're going to lose to hands like this, or you're going to lose to boards like this, because if you do the same thing that I just did, even with Open Judgment, you're probably not going to dump Renaud to make thing. You're probably just going to dump Gear Free because that's natural for you. It's natural for you to want to send Gear Free because Gear Free is a negate, right? So you're going to want to do that, and your opponent is going to do this exact thing to you, and you're going to either fire off the Judgment. So we'll go ahead and just run through Game 3. Game 3 is not much to talk about. I did not get Game 3 because he goes Sign and Man, he gets Circular. My hand's pretty good. I think like if I maybe would have resequenced my hand a little bit different, I could have maybe squeezed it out here. But I fire off Imperm on Circular because, again, I'm fearful of Super Factorial. Super Factorial does so much. So much. It completely demolishes a field and gets your hand, and if you have diameter, they have a negate. It's just, it does so much. I guess we can potentially just kind of clip it through here because he's just going to go through his combo. So he ends up doing right here. He ends up hitting on both of the Singularity and the Gigahertz or Trihertz, whatever it is. So I go ahead and special... Okay, so 1 second. No, this is all right. So I go ahead and I special out Red Layer. I fire off Heritage of Chalice. He ends up ashing. Or, yep, he ends up ashing the Chalice. I go Durandal. He ends up bouncing... Or he ends up using the Spell and Trap Negate on the Durandal. I end up normal summoning the Oliver. He ends up deciding to bounce the Oliver, and if I had an Acoustical in hand, maybe we would be off to the races. But now knowing what he has set. So I really can't do anything. I decide to go Battle Phase, because I have Evenly and Oliver in hand. So I go Battle Phase, I decide to take the 300 damage from the Heat Soul, and then go into battle, hit him with a fat Evenly. But see, like, even now, like, all he has to do is keep the Gigahertz, the one that killed me in the first game. And it doesn't matter because he can just, it's 5, it's going to be huge, it's going to be able to destroy me. But that is it for that friendly match there. But yeah, guys, so that is why Connector's important. Like I said, match 1, match 3 didn't really, game 1, game 3 didn't matter, right? But game 2, that highlights how insane Connector is and why you should be playing it. Because if you played any different engine besides Connector and Dolphin, if you played Uppercut, Normal Summon, Grab Spar, lose. Because you know what? You're just going to go into Isolde. If your hand, like, literally was the same way, like, the same hand, you don't know what they're going to play around, because now that you know what they have, you can sequence your stuff correctly to the best ability you have to force the opponent to respond with a hand trap. With that being said, again, that's what happened earlier would not have even happened, because I would not have discard fire to get that Ogier to the grave to be able to equip with the field spell to bring back out. You would just, turn would be so lackluster without having that knowledge, and not even including the discard that Dolphin gives you. It's just so lackluster by not knowing what's in the hand. Because like I said, even though I believe I won game 2, I believe I played out that turn incorrectly. I still think Judgment should have hit the Dark Ruler, and then Charles and Baron could have solved the rest. Charles and Baron could have solved the rest of the hand. Now he drew Droll, right? So he goes Forbidden Droplets, sending a monster, and then sending whatever card, like literally Droplets sending a monster so I can't respond wouldn't have done nothing. Because I can't respond to Droplets if he sends a monster. So that means literally everything else he negates, but he has no monsters. So like he wasn't winning regardless in this scenario. But if he would have drew a monster, the board I would have set up would have been like the correct sequence. Because what this does is most combo players, as you know, they smack down Dark Ruler, and as soon as you judgment it, they kind of get frazzled. Like it's kind of like, oh god, like this was supposed to be my win all be all type of thing. So not only did I just like have Dark Ruler and evenly his 2 blowout cards, because that's supposed to be like one of the best 2-card going second combos out there. So sometimes that type of stuff will frazzle the opponent and kind of razzle. Like even I admit I will get frazzled sometimes, and you just kind of start to see, you don't think, you start sequencing stuff incorrectly and start going that route. But at the end of the day, regardless of the situation we went, he would have had Droll, Tactics, and Droplets in his hand, right? So he would have droplets, and then send 2 cards from his hand. He would either be forced to hit Retin, he'd either be forced to hit the... He can't kill me, because he's already went through his battle phase. So anyway, guys, that's enough ranting, but please remember if you guys enjoy this type of content. If you enjoy like going over these type of videos to explain mindset and stuff like that, to talk things through, let me know in the comment section below. But please remember, most importantly for you guys, to stay safe, stay healthy. This is Charles from Team COG, signing out.